three, 1, 2, 3. Family! Here we go.
A new school year is right around the corner, and around here, it also means the return of Friday night football. Welcome to a special edition of the 24th Floor. I'm Richard Denson.
And I'm Ruben Diaz from state title contenders to players ready to finally break out. We're getting you ready for a whole new season across the Mid-South.
We're going class by class to get you ready for the season, starting with Class 6A, the state's largest classification, where just getting out of your region is a challenge.
Yes, the big boys here. No kidding, the Mid-South has 9 teams split between regions 7 and 8. Take a look at your screen to get an idea here. Collierville returns as the defending Region 7 champ, while Southwind sits on the top of Region 8.
And don't expect that to change without a fight. Collierville may have the area's most talented roster, and Houston, which is a perennial powerhouse, looks primed to bounce back after an off-season last season. Whitehaven has a new coach and new playmakers, and Germantown begins a new era under Old Ridgeway coach Deron Sutton.
Yeah, but if there's one team that may be flying under the radar, it is Southwind, believe it or not. It sounds strange to say they could be flying under the radar, right? One of the teams we were able to get our eyes on this summer, the Jaguars, are the defending Region 8 champs, but they'll have to replace two-time Mr. Football winner, Mr. Everything, Kelvin Perkins, who was the quarterback there. The good news is they may have the best offensive line in Tennessee. They call themselves the U-Haul Boys. And there's plenty of size and college talent up front. These guys are big. Ole Miss commit Antonio Kiefer leads that group. That also includes Louisiana Tech commit Zacchaeus Ratliff, Division I recruits Chris Campbell, Micah Ashby, and Ryan Jenkins as well. All 5 are seniors. They've all played a ton of football together. And with that group leading the way, you have to keep an eye on Auburn commit Kamani Williams. Right? You got big boys making the holes, and he's running through it. If the offensive line plays to its potential, the Jaguars should be right in the mix in 6A.
Now another team hoping to crash that party is Arlington. The Tigers were one of Class 6A's biggest surprises a year ago, and now they're looking to show that success was no fluke. Arlington finished 7-4 in Coach Jeb Jones' first season, but the Tigers know there's still room to grow after a 1-3 finish in region play. They'll have to replace their starting quarterback after an offseason transfer, but defensive standout Jaron Jackson Jr. returns. Nope, not talking about the former Grizz, along with sophomore offensive lineman Kenneth Walker IV. Yes, he is the younger brother of Super Bowl MVP Kenneth Walker III. And Jones, he believes year 2 is where his program can really take off.
I think just the growth that they've had. You know, last year was a lot of they were trying to learn my system and what I expected of the culture of the team, and so it's always a learning curve. And you know, we didn't have that many seniors. I think we had 15 seniors on the team, and so we were very young. And so now this year we just have an extra year of growth. They already know what we're doing and what we're trying to do, so we can get even more complex in both offensive and defensive systems.
From there, we drop down to Class 5A, where 5 Mid-South teams will compete this season: Brighton, Kingsbury, Memphis Central, Mumford, and Overton.
But the big question starts with Mumford, as you might have guessed. The Cougars have won 47 games over the last 5 seasons, including a 10-2 finish last year, but they still haven't made it past the second round of the playoffs, Richard.
Got to get that monkey off their back. The talent is there to change that. Tay Starks returns after finishing as a Mr. Football runner-up as just a sophomore. And the 2-time All-State running back now shares the backfield with Covington transfer Jaheim Smith, another 1,000-yard rusher.
But Mumford did not win the region last year. Central actually won it. The Warriors beat the Cougars in the regular season finale, finishing 9-3, and they put together their best season since 2021.
Coach Major Wright, he returned some important pieces, including future Memphis defensive end Joshua Lane and quarterback Brooks Wright. So in Class 5A, the road through the Mid-South may once again run through Central and Mumford.
Now, let's go up to Class 4A. Let's drop down now to Class 4A, where there are 9 Mid-South schools that battle for playoff position this fall. We're talking Craigmont, Ridgeway, Fayetteville, Dyer County, Haywood, Crockett County, Kirby, Lakeland Prep, and Millington. That's a long list.
I know, you almost lost your breath
About did. I need a drink of water.
Last season, Dyer County and Crockett County led the way. Both finished 9-3, both went 5-2 in region play, and both saw their seasons end in the second round of the playoffs.
But that leaves Class A pretty much wide open at this point, Richard. Whether it's Dyer County or Crockett County building on last year's success, or you have another Mid-South program like Lakeland Prep, who throws the ball a lot, this could be one of the most competitive classifications in the entire state.
All right, let's drop it on down to Class 3A. It features another strong group of Mid-South programs. We're talking about Bolton, Bolivar Central, Frederick Douglass, Covington, Hamilton, Dyersburg, Melrose, McNary Central, Raleigh Egypt, Ripley, and Wooddale.
But, of course, you went through that whole list. You know, everybody's eyes are on Melrose at this point. After back-to-back 10-win seasons and a trip to the state championship game in 2024, the Golden Wildcats enter a new era.
Yes, Cedric Wilson returns for his second stint as head coach out is the Morrow Twins. Now, Cedric Wilson is he's an Orange Mound native, and he's the only player in Tennessee football history to, check this out, Ruben, win a state championship, a national championship, and a Super Bowl.
Man, that's accolades on accolades. On the field, the spotlight shifts to Western Kentucky commit Tavarco Jackson. With Thomas Hefner now at Los Ann, you can expect Melrose to find creative ways to get its biggest playmaker in football all game long.
Yes, and if the Golden Wildcats adjust quickly under Wilson, don't be surprised to see Melrose right back in the hunt for another deep playoff run.
All right, let's go to Class 2A. That features another competitive group of Mid-South programs. You're talking Bluff City, Fairleigh, Hillcrest, Trezevant, Mace, Memphis Business Academy, Mitchell, and Sheffield all in the mix.
Last season, Fairleigh set the standard. The Bulldogs went 9-3, ran the table in region play, won the region title, and made the deepest playoff run of any Mid-South team in the class.
But you can't count out Mace. You never can. After moving up from Class 1A following its 2024 state championship, the Phoenix took their welcome back tour last season. Now they look to take another step.
Mace returns one of the best offensive lines in Class 2A, led by Ole Miss commit Jamarcus Pittman. His brother Jamarius and Chase Jefferson give the Phoenix size up front, while a healthy Cadience Nelson could put the offense back on track.
But with Fairleigh looking to defend its region title and Mace hoping to reclaim its championship form, don't be surprised if Class 2A produces another fun race this fall between those groups.
All right, we wrap up the public school classes in 1A, where Booker T. Washington, Westwood, KIPP, Memphis Collegiate, Manassas, Middle College, Middleton, and Oak Haven represent the Mid-South.
Now, Oak Haven and Westwood both reached the playoffs last season, but it was a Middle College that was kind of the surprise for everybody. They set the pace, winning 10 straight games, making a run to the quarterfinals.
Yes, the Bulldogs have become one of the most consistent programs in Class 1A. They've won at least 9 games in 4 of the last 6 seasons. They just keep finding ways to win despite playing without a true home stadium. Look at that. And the good news for Middle College, plenty of talent is back. So the Bulldogs could be poised for another big season. In fact, we recently caught up with the defending region champs as they prepare to chase another deep playoff run.
This season, I feel like I got something to prove, going into my senior year. I've always had something to prove, but this year's like I got the team on my back.
So, Ruben, we went through a lot of teams there. Any bold predictions you got?
I think Collierville is going to be really tough this year. They have a starting quarterback now who's an Iowa commit.
Yep.
So they're solid. They were rotating 2 quarterbacks last season.
Yeah.
And they've gotten so much transfer talent. And transfers this year has made a big change and a big difference.
You almost think it's college.
Yeah, it's a lot different now because you're trying to figure out who moved where and who's doing what.
Exactly. Now, if I had to say, so last season I was surprised that we didn't get one Mid-South team in the state title. I think not only will that change this year, we'll actually have not 1, not 2, but I think 3 Mid-South teams will bring home the gold ball.
So you're thinking 3 different classifications.
I think Class 6A for sure will get one.
I'm with you on 6A.
And I think Middle College finally gets over the hump. I like what they're doing. And I think, I don't know, I kind of feel like Melrose, I like 3A. I mean, I like 2A too. I mean, I think Melrose could adjust with Cedric Wilson calling the shots.
I just think it's hard in your first year with the first year
But I
coach.
think 2A could get one for sure, whether it's Mace or Fairleigh. I feel like Fairleigh's been knocking on the door for some time.
Then Fairleigh just needs some grass on that field, and they'll be all right.
Yeah.
It's like the Dust Bowl out there, brother.
Before we wrap up the public side, here are a few games you'll want to circle on the calendar. Let's pull it up.
Yeah, opening week is loaded, and once region play begins, there could be league titles and playoff seeding on the line almost every single Friday night. Take a look at those games.
Week, Ruben. Germantown at Houston, August 21st, and then Melrose at Central. Talk about a doubleheader.
Yeah,
we got a decision on our hands on what's going to be game of the week.
Houston and Whitehaven is a tough one, and then Whitehaven and Mumford. I mean, every week there's going to be great games.
Southwind at Whitehaven, Houston at Collierville, Germantown at Southwind, Wasn't Germantown at Southwind like the Mid-South Super
but
Bowl last year?
There's changes now at Germantown because head coaching changes at Germantown. So we'll wait and see what that looks like for Germantown this year. Again, so many changes, you don't know for sure what it's going to be.
All right, we're going to put a pin in public schools. When we come back, we shift our focus to the private schools where several state title contenders are ready to take the field.
From Los Angeles, the Christian Brothers will break down the teams, the stars, and the games that could define this upcoming season.
Look at them getting at it, Ruben.
It looks like some Los Angeles work. I was out there not too long ago.
Look at them getting at it. Welcome back to our 24th floor back to school special. Now, we've covered the top public school contenders. Now it's time to turn our attention to the private ranks.
Yeah, and there's still plenty of star power here, a lot to talk about. Briarcrest coming off the deepest playoff run of any Mid-South private school, while several other programs believe they may have what it takes to finally make a run of their own.
Let's start in Division II AAA, where some of the Mid-South's top programs are set to battle all season long.
Yeah, so in this AAA division, we're talking about, it features 3 Mid-South programs. We're talking about Briarcrest, Christian Brothers, and Memphis University School, also known as MUS.
MUS. I had my cousin. I just found out my cousins went there. All 3 reached the playoffs last season, but Briarcrest went the farthest after earning a first-round bye.
Now, the Saints look to build on that success, while Christian Brothers and MUS hope to make deeper runs of their own.
Let's go back to Briarcrest. It's a team that believes its best football, Ruben, is still ahead. The Saints have some big shoes to fill after graduating school record quarterback Hudson Tucker and top receiver William Jones. But there's still plenty of firepower. Memphis commit J.D. Donaldson, frequent player of the night guy, he returns, along with two-way standout Octavius Flynn, while Caden Dixon right here steps in as the new starting quarterback. Head coach Phil Massey says his new signal caller is ready for the opportunity.
Well, he's an outstanding athlete, but he's also an outstanding person, young man, and I think he's come in and really has bought into what we're doing as coaches and our philosophy on offense. And, you know, he's going to have some people around him, surrounding him, that's going to help him perform. And I'm anxious to see him performing on Friday nights.
That dude is really good. Moved over from Nashville area to come here. All right, Christian Brothers also turning the page at quarterback, and they've got a good one of their own. The Purple Wave believe they have found their next star. We're talking about Nate Brick. Dude can throw that ball. He took over late last season, helping lead the Brothers to a rivalry win over MUS. Now he'll take the reins for a full season. He was just a freshman last year. And then that's why it took him a while to get him in. Head coach Thomas McDaniel believes the foundation is already in place thanks to a senior class that is setting the standard.
I think like any year, we're excited about our senior leadership. You know, obviously it's the last run for a lot of these guys, and you know, we've got some really critical players in some important positions that provide excellent, you know, leadership for our team. William Umstead is a defensive end tight end, Nick Nellis at linebacker, Carter Pugh at linebacker, Jonathan DeStephanis at safety, Finn Potter, Casey Van Epps, Keaton Witt on the offensive line. So we're always challenging our older guys to be leaders and make sure that the younger guys follow suit, and we're excited about where we're at with our leadership at this point this year.
I will say, them Christian Brothers crowds, man, one of the best environments here in the Mid-South, the Purple Wave. But all right, let's move on down to Division II Class AA. It features 5 Mid-South programs: Evangelical Christian, known as ECS, Lausanne, North Point Christian, St. Benedict, also known as SBA, which is Thomas McDaniel's little brother, who's the head coach there, and St. George's.
Yeah, Lausanne led the way last season, winning the region and reaching the state semifinals. I was out there later last week. Maybe it was early last week or late last week. They were getting at it again. North Point also put together a 7-win season, while ECS, St. George's, and St. Benedict's look to take the next step this fall. Now, SBA had a young quarterback last year who's got a whole year of experience under his belt.
Yeah, I mean, I like what McDaniel was building over there. Mike McDaniel, not to be confused interviews with the former NFL head coach. But getting back to private schools, it starts with the Lausanne Lynx, who are chasing another region title after last season's deep playoff run. Now, Lausanne, they have some big shoes to fill after graduating All-State quarterback T.J. Jenkins. But the Lynx may have found the perfect replacement right here. Junior transfer Thomas Hefner arrives from Melrose after throwing for more than 2,000 yards, accounting for 40 total touchdowns, and leading the Golden Wildcats to the state quarterfinals. Now he joins a talented roster that returns Missouri commit Lawrence Britt as Lausanne sets its sights on another deep postseason run. Hefner says, though, there's only one goal.
Expectations mainly is just to get better as a team, but as well as state bound, winning the gold ball, winning state, because that's always the main goal. So I push everybody, as well as my teammates, to come together and just everybody work hard, everybody push each other so we all can achieve the one goal, which is the state title.
All right, Division 2A features 4 Mid-South programs: Fayette Academy, First Assembly Christian, Harding Academy, and Tipton Rosemark.
Unlike the other private school classes, this one, Ruben, wide open. None of the 4 Mid-South teams reached the playoffs last season, which means every program enters 2026 looking to take a step forward.
Yeah, so Tipton Rosemark finished with the best record of the group last year, but Harding Academy, Fayette Academy, and First Assembly all have a chance to shake things up in the standings this fall. Those smaller private schools have a little bit tougher road at times because, they kind of get chomped away at by the bigger private schools.
Yeah.
You get a kid who's pretty good, and do you want to go play at the small private school? Or do you want to go play move on up?
I think Arlington got some guys from some of those smaller schools.
And some of those guys do move around, especially with the ability to transfer now. So it's a little tougher for some of those small private schools, but those bigger private schools, the Briarcrest, the Lausanne, some of those guys have a lot of talent on their roster.
Now, speaking of Briarcrest, I feel like they have all the capabilities of being a state champion. But unfortunately, who's in that class? Baylor, McCallie from Chattanooga, that continues to be the monkey on their back for why they can't get it over the top.
So I would say one of the biggest differences between this year's Briarcrest team and last year's is going to be Hudson Tucker was a pocket passer.
Yeah.
A little bit of mobility, but primarily a pocket passer. Hayden Dixon can do them both.
Dual threat.
Yeah, and so it's going to open up Briarcrest's ability to move that ball down the field. And Hudson Tucker was a program guy, understood the system inside and out. He could throw the deep ball as good as anybody in the area.
But Caden got a ball too, man. Being out there at practice,
whew. I tried to tell you.
Yeah, I didn't know. I got my first shot when we were covering these practices.
So we were talking about it behind the scenes, and you were like, well, how good is he? And I said, this dude is good. I live in that quarterback 7-on-7 world with my son, and so we see some of these older guys.
And you saw him?
When I heard he was coming to this side of the state, I said, oh, my goodness. That's the real deal.
What do you think about Lausanne? I mean, with now Thomas Hefner, and Melrose had all the capabilities of winning it all and, came up short. But in Lausanne, maybe the competition isn't as stiff, and Hefner brings that kind of winner's mentality over there.
So the week-to-week competition may not be as stiff, but the playoff competition is tough. And so, I
they were 2 wins away from winning it all, though.
I shouldn't even say the week-to-week isn't as tough, because it is still tough in that region and what they're doing. It's just a different kind of tough, right? And so I think Hefner brings a lot of experience. He brings great size to the quarterback position.
Yep.
And he's
very smart.
He brings great IQ and great athleticism, and they have a lot of big dudes down there. I was at Lausanne a couple days ago, and we were watching them do one-on-ones. We were watching them do some Oklahoma drill type stuff, and those guys are going at it, and they got some big boys. And Lawrence Britt, I think that dude is really good. So you've got a lot of talent at Lausanne.
Probably one of the best wide receivers we have in the Mid-South.
True wide receiver, yes.
Let's take a look at some games you'll want to look at to circle on your calendar for the private school ranks, Ruben. Opening week, we talked about Lausanne. Lausanne and Southwind. It's a rematch. That was our first game of the week last year. This time it's at Southwind.
Yeah, it was at Lausanne last year. It'll be at Southwind this year. The trick is Southwind's got a new quarterback too.
Yeah.
And so you're talking about 2 teams with some tradition, each with new signal callers trying to figure out their way. And that week 1, I don't care how good you are as a program, that week 1 is still a learning week.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Then you follow that up with Christian Brothers of Lausanne.
Yeah.
Now that's a tough one too.
The one that I'm really looking at is October. And I know we're doing a Lausanne Love Fest in a way, but Lausanne at Collierville, That one should be really exciting on October 8th.
Southwind at Briarcrest is going to be tough on the 25th.
I mean, it was a barn burner last year. I think it was 48-42.
Yeah,
I was at that game.
Yeah, that
the
was
punters
up there.
didn't hardly get to kick the ball. So, I mean, it's a lot of good teams, a lot of good games here in the Mid-South.
The Christian Brothers at MUS game, that'll be a great game, too.
I think that's the rivalry game.
Yeah, that'll be a good one at the back end of the season as well.
One of the Tennessee's oldest rivalries. All right, let's take a quick break, Ruben.
All right, when we come back, it's about more than just wins and losses when you really talk about high school football in this time of the year.
We take you inside what makes Friday night so special in our final feature, The Return.
So football has a way of telling us that the summer is officially over, right? You're talking about the whistles, the band, the practices, the Friday night lights, all the signal of a new school year.
Yep, and our final story isn't about wins or losses. It's about what the game means to the people who live it. Here's The Return.
1, 2, 3. Go, go, go. Run it back, Rick.
It's a new beginning. It's a chance for new things, and so I think we're all excited. You know, a new chance for new things and new goals, and it's an exciting time of year.
Football is always a big sport, especially in the South, and so you know, we kind of know that, hey, it sets the tone for the year. It's the first sport, you know, along with girls soccer, girls volleyball as well. So you know, we try to support all sports as well, and we want to pour into them. But you know, football is the one that you're going to get the biggest crowds usually, and so we understand the responsibility that we have to set the school year and have be successful.
Knowing this is my last year in high school, last time to make an impact on the guys, that's really what I want to focus on this year, is just making sure that I'm leaving something behind instead of just being a good player.
Yeah, I'm very excited because I feel like I got much to prove this season and much to prove in my books, because for me to play college football, I have to be good in books and good on the field. I have to be a great student athlete, so I feel like I need to work on that more.
Academically, Lausanne provides everything I need. In the future, I want to become a mechanical engineer. So they provide great facilities when it comes to the scientific and mechanical world. So that's why I chose to come back here.
You gotta have a mental side to it, but when you get out on the field, you gotta a lot of people say like work up to, you know, you gotta live up to the hype or whatever, but we kind of preach here like fall back on what you worked on. And so that's something that is kind of like, you just gotta have fun when you play. You gotta trust in what you've been doing all summer.
Teaching them determination, grit, toughness, the ability to overcome adversity, fight through hard times, and they forge friendships and bonds that will last a lifetime. These guys don't realize it right now, but a lot of these guys that they practice with and play with every day are going to be, you know, friends with them for the rest of their lives.
Y'all better watch out for the Lausanne Lynx. We coming this year, and we coming to take it over.
Thanks for spending some time with us as we get you ready for another high school football season. This was fun.
It was a ton of fun and a lot of information for Richard Dixon, who did a ton of work on this special. Hats off to you. I'm Ruben Diaz. Thanks so much for watching the 24th Floor. We will see you on the sidelines and on Friday nights.